Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly webinar called APS Tuesdays. My name is Julia, and if you attended APS Tuesdays before, you know me already, but for those who don't know me yet, I'm Julia Eremeeva, based in Michigan in the US, and I'm a program manager on developer advocacy and support team here at Autodesk. And what our team does, we support partners, customers, system integrators, independent software vendors, basically everyone who leverage Autodesk technologies, Autodesk APIs, and develop their own solutions. So that can be customizing our desktop products or creating web solutions, integrating with our web solutions, our cloud solutions like ACC, Autodesk Construction Cloud, Fusion 360, and so on. And maybe if some of you heard about Autodesk Developer Network, this is also managed by our team. This webinar is supposed to be a basic introduction to Autodesk Platform Services. So it's a high-level overview. And we started running these webinars, I think back in April last year. So we have quite a few questions that we get asked every webinar. So I would like to address them first. The first question is APS Tuesdays different every week? Because it's a weekly webinar and people join multiple sessions expecting it to be as serious. The answer is no. We do provide similar content every week. Every week it's supposed to be a basic introduction to APS. However, every webinar is run by different people. So sometimes it's me, sometimes it's my colleagues, Peter or Phil. And the way we present differs, and the use cases that we show also can be different. So the short answer is no, but the flavor of the presentation might change. The second question we get is whether the session is being recorded. We used to record every session, and this session is also being recorded. However, I do want to let you know that if you want to join any further occurrences, we will not record any of those, but instead we will have one video created by me that will be basically a large overview of APS and all the examples that we would like to show you in different categories. If you would like to get access to this recording or you have any problems or any questions about today's webinar, you can reach out to us at aps.business@autodesk.com. And the last question we usually get is, if you heard a little bit about Autodesk Platform Services, you might wonder if this presentation can be too technical if you're not a software developer. The answer is that this session is non-technical and it will be useful not only for software developers to learn more on what's possible, but also for business leaders, program managers. And if you're interested in creating dashboards, in digital transformation, you're more than welcome aboard today. I mentioned that I'm a part of developer advocacy and support team. This is the team that runs these webinars. And our team is very much global. I think we have around 50, 60 people on the team. Most of them are software engineers who help our customers and partners day in and day out with technical support. And we, I think, speak more than 10 languages. So there's a high chance we are near you and we speak your language. The less people on the team are business development managers, and I'm a part of that smaller team. I'm coordinating the US and Canada, so that region. We do have other program managers around the world. So depending on where you are in the world, you might talk to different people. If it's Europe, that would be Peter and Phil. For Latin America, that would be Silvio or myself. And for I think for China, it's Max. For Japan, Toshiaki. For India and other countries in Asia, it's Vero. The agenda for today would be first covering the basics of Autodesk Platform Services, what it is all about, why we care, why we have these webinars. And then use cases and what I show will be based on your input, on what you're interested in to see. Then I'll spend, I think, around 10 or 15 minutes on about talking about ways you can get support from our team, whether it's email or events. I'll cover all of that. And then we will have Q&A section at the end. However, I do encourage you to submit your questions while I'm talking. I'm the only one from the team joining today, but if I see a question, I will pay attention to that and I might stop to answer. So let me, before we start our presentation, I told you a little bit more about me and our team. I do want to hear more about who joined us today, who joined me today. So I would like to run a poll to get to know you better. Let me find, here it is. This poll has just 3 questions. I would like to learn more about your job title, about your experience with Autodesk Platform Services, whether you are completely new to it and don't know what it is, or maybe you already created something with it. And then to learn more about your industry. We do want to keep this webinar informal, so if you have questions or comments, feel free to raise your hand or just let me know that you would like to speak up. Okay, let's see. Software developers, other. Can you specify what you mean by other? A lot of you have gone through the tutorials already. I wonder if you mean that you attended the bootcamp last week. Let me know if you did. Okay, I see some thumbs up. Here we go. AEC. Okay, the majority. Lots of thumbs up. So I'm guessing a lot of people came from the bootcamp to this session. Okay, I'm ending the poll. I see. That's a diverse audience today. Okay, let's jump right into our content. See some messages in the chat. Sysadmin, BIM manager. Okay, well, thank you for your responses. Um, let's start. So maybe you recognize the logo on the left, or maybe you heard of Autodesk Forge. And we got a little bit of confusion. What is the difference between APS and Autodesk Forge? So Autodesk Platform Services is a new name for Autodesk Forge. We changed the name in 2022 during Autodesk University. We announced the new name. So you can see that as just rebranding. But also, we are adding new APIs. We are adding new technology to the platform. So you can see that as new, as the next evolution of Autodesk Forge. Some examples that I will show you will have the Autodesk Forge logo though, but we are working on updating those. When we start talking about Autodesk Platform Services, this conversation is very much about digital transformation. And digital transformation at each company has many, many large pieces. And one of those pieces is platforms your company is building upon. For example, your company started implementing Office software packages. You probably have one unified ERP system or CRM system or any other collaboration tools that you standardize on. However, in the design and make industry, key information, key data tends to be siloed in CAD files. So if I don't have a license or I don't know how to navigate through that software, that data gets lost. And that data isn't easily shared across teams who might need access, sales or marketing on the floor. So Autodesk Platform Services is about connecting your design and make data to the rest of the enterprise and liberating that data so that everyone has access to that early and often without needing to have the knowledge of the system, of the software. So what it is, The key thing to understand is that it's not a product. It's not a ready-to-go product that you can purchase and start using. Autodesk Platform Services is a set of components, a set of web service APIs that companies can use to build their own applications. And you might understand that APS is something that a web developer uses. However, they use that to create a solution that can benefit the whole enterprise. So to start working with Autodesk Platform Services, a web developer would need to know basic server development, so that could be Node.js or .NET. They will need to know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript because it's still web development, and REST API for the back end. Recently, and maybe if you attended the bootcamp, you heard about AEC data model and in general data model APIs, and that they need some knowledge of GraphQL. When you start building these web applications, the more complex your web application will get, the more technologies you will actually use. APS will cover just a part of that, a part that is related to design and make data. And I will show you the example so that you can apply that knowledge in the context. But the more technologies, the more complex the application gets, the more systems you will integrate with it. For example, you want to integrate Beam data, design and make data with databases, MongoDB or any other databases, or cloud storages, or any other systems you have at your company. APS will be just a part of that, a part that works great with design and make data. A little bit more on the architecture. So Autodesk Platform Services, they are based on AWS, Amazon Web Services. And Autodesk itself are using Autodesk Platform Services to build our solutions like Autodesk Construction Cloud, Autodesk Fusion 360, our industry cloud, Fusion, Form, and Flow. So you can see those products, those offerings, as one of the examples of what's possible with Autodesk Platform Services. On the other side, you can build your own application using Autodesk Platform Services, and they don't have to be connected to any of the Autodesk products. However, with that architecture, there is an opportunity to integrate with the products maybe you are already using, like say Autodesk Construction Cloud integration. When we start talking about Autodesk Platform Services, we also mentioned that when we talk about design and make data, we don't only mean Autodesk data, data coming from Autodesk files. We also talk about files like IFC, MicroStation, SketchUp, or maybe we're talking about Creo or SolidWorks files. APS can take 70 plus file formats. So it doesn't matter what exactly you're working with, and convert that file to data, to geometry that can be visualized in the cloud and shared to other teams. So APS extracts geometry from your files as well as metadata. And then we can share that to other teams who need to have access. So those are some APIs, not all of them. I didn't list all of them. Some APIs available through Autodesk Platform Services. And I know we are joined today by some software developers. So I will briefly cover what some of those APIs do. So model derivative API, this is a big one. Our partners and customers use that a lot. Model derivative is that API that can take 70 plus file formats and extract geometry and metadata and convert it to a file format called SVF that can be rendered, that can be displayed in the browser in Autodesk Platform Services Viewer. And Viewer API is basically where you see your models in. Design Automation API. Maybe some of you worked with our desktop products. So imagine for example, Autodesk Revit product. Design Automation API is our desktop product without the user interface. So we took the engine and the API of our desktop products, only five at this point: AutoCAD, Revit, Civil 3D, Inventor, and 3ds Max. We put them in the cloud, and you can create workflows, send in tasks to those API in the cloud. That is design automation, and sometimes we call it headless desktop products in the cloud. And a few more BIM 360 APIs and ACC APIs. Those allow you to customize those products, to integrate these products with other systems, for example, ERP or CRM. As a software developer, you will need to get to know those APIs. You will probably want to talk to our team, to our software engineers, to talk through possible scenarios, possible limitations, and what is possible with it. And now, apart from API, let's talk about how those tools, how the APIs have been used, and what our partners and customers build with it. So APS is a set of tools for web developers, and the categories of web applications we saw are dashboards, digital twins, integrations, and design automation solutions. So those are big four. We did see a few examples of AR/VR solutions and prefabrication solutions. But what is more important than the what part is why customers and partners build those applications. Because since APS is not a ready to go product, the conversation about APS does start with what is a pain point for your business? What is the workflow that's not good enough that you would like to enhance? What integration you would like to have that you don't have now? And each of those categories addresses a certain business problem. For example, dashboards were created by companies to accelerate enterprise insights, to have that visibility in the project, and to avoid ugly decisions because someone didn't have data at the right time. For example, configurators. We saw a few examples, quite a few examples of configurators for building products, and those were created for customer delight, for increased customer engagement, and increased profits as a response to that. And for example, integrations. Integrations are again about enterprise insights. You can see, for example, ERP data, cost data in the context of your BIM models. It's about decision making and efficiency and transparency in the project. And to sum it up, why customers and partners build with APS, I mentioned a few, but it is truly about better and faster decisions, what pain point you have now that you would like to avoid. Maybe you want to have fewer difficult discussions, as we all do. Maybe it's about enhanced customer experience, or maybe you want to meet your sustainability goals or safety goals. It's about the right data to the right people at the right time. Talking about ecosystem, we currently have more than 4,000 active applications around the world. So people are using Autodesk Platform Services to power their applications. And what that means, it means reliability, security, and performance. APS services can be trusted and relied on. Uh, Maybe some of you are already Autodesk Construction Cloud users. Let me know either with the reactions or maybe in the chat. We do have an ecosystem of partners and customers who integrate with ACC, and we have a separate partnership program for that. But I think I won't spend much time on that for now. And another thing, just for the awareness, we do have a certification, Autodesk Platform Services Certified Partner. And why should you care? There are two reasons. It can be you care about obtaining that certification to be a trusted advisor for customers, whether you're developing your own solutions, you're a system integrator, and you might want to obtain that. On the other hand, if you're a customer, You might be interested in partnering with certified partners so that they can develop solution for you. Now, this was an introduction to APS. I haven't seen any questions, but let me know if you do have questions. Maybe that could be a good time to ask them. And I will run another poll to showcase what is possible with APS. I do want to get your input on what you would like to see the most today. So let me run the second poll that has only one question. What solutions are you most interested in? Those categories I mentioned: dashboards, integrations, digital twins, and I think I saw APS. I recognize the name. APS Services Payment and Credit System. So while I'm collecting some answers, let me briefly talk about the pricing. As a new user, you get your trial, 90-day trial, and you have full access to all APIs. You can use them, test them, see how much cloud credits or flex tokens you burn. So that's totally free. You have full access. After 90 days, depending on which country you're based in, let's talk about the US. First, if you are in the US, your account will be automatically converted to full access. No cost, no nothing, no action from your side is needed unless you want to use premium APIs. So those three premium APIs are model derivative, design automation, and reality capture, and I can go into detail maybe after at the end of the webinar. But those are premium APIs and they will trigger either flex token charges in the US or in some countries cloud credit charges. And that's when our team will reach out to you and tell you more about how much you need to pay for the services. Did I answer your question? Maybe as a high overview. I see a thumbs up. I'll take it as a yes. Where's the best place to look for what's possible with configurators, how complex they could be? So the best resource ever for APS is our website. I opened some examples for you already, but if you go to aps.autodesk.com, you see success stories. You can look into that. You can search it by configurators, but you can also go to code samples. I'll send that to the chat. And also see what's possible. Also see the code if you're a software developer and you would like to have a look at it. Yeah, those are code samples. Enter live. And I will show a few configurators later in this presentation. Feel free to reach out to me if you would like to get videos or any links from today's webinar as well. What about countries other than the US? Is it chargeable as cloud credits necessarily? So it's case by case, but if you let me know your country, it will be easier for me to tell. So there are countries that support Autodesk Flex. And if your country supports Autodesk Flex, then the process, the payment process that I described would apply to you as well. The UK supports Flex. India, I don't think so. I think India still uses cloud credits for now. So for the UK, the process that I described will be applicable. You only pay for what you use. If you don't use any paid APIs, which are just three, then you won't be charged. You won't be contacted by our payments team. So and you can continue using free APIs without a problem. So that's for Flex supported countries. For countries outside of the Flex supported ones, you will need to purchase subscription to keep your account active. And that subscription already includes cloud credits that you can use on your premium API usage. I think I might address that at the end of the webinar, but I'm happy to talk about it outside of the webinar as well. If you have any further questions or just need more details on the pricing process. Okay, so let me see. We got configurators, automation is what you're the most interested in. Integrations is second one, and then top three is digital twin dashboards. They are tied. I'll end the poll, share that with you so that you can see I'm not making it up. Let's see. Stop sharing. Okay, let me first show you three really, really basic examples before I jump into design automation examples as well. So I mentioned that we have model derivative and viewer combination that allows you to extract data and metadata and geometry from 70 plus file formats. And this is a very basic representation of what it looks like. So this is a simple gallery of projects. You see there's a car. Those projects are really random because those examples were created by our engineers to showcase what's possible. But you can imagine it being buildings, for example, your portfolio if you're a construction company, or your portfolio of building manufacturing products if you're if you work in that industry. In this case, for APS Viewer, the buttons, the basic functionality is hidden, but I can extend it and see, for example, I can explode this model, or I can see the properties of this model as well. The key thing about APS Viewer is that it's based on standard technologies, WebGL and 3GS. And what it means is that that can be extended. Viewer can have multiple extensions limited by the power of JavaScript, which JavaScript is pretty unlimited in what it can do. So you can add much more buttons to that viewer and work with it however you want. And this example, which I'll share with you in the chat, showcases a few extensions that our engineers came up with and wanted to showcase in this application. What I will just show a few of them. For example, I gotta update it because I already played with it earlier. So I choose a Revit file. And for example, I care about viewer inside this viewer. That can be either just a part of the object, just for example, one floor, one level of the project. Maybe I care about drawing, having drawing alongside the 3D model. Another extension is Excel extension. That allows you to extract metadata from the model to your desktop computer or whatever you're working with. And we do have a few examples of adjusting the Excel file with parameters. So for example, adding missing parameters and bringing that data back to the model to update it. And I think the last one I'll show you would be icon markups. Let me close the nested viewer. That just shows you some information in this particular case about temperature. You can connect IoT devices to your model and have that information in the context of your BIM model. Okay, let me jump right in the design automation examples. This is where I will show configurators as well. I think I saw another question. Okay, so that's not a question. Feel free to, I'll send you my email so that we can chat about pricing as well. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So in this particular case, I'll show you a video first, but I'll show you a video, which would be a web application with a library of lighting products. But let me share a little bit of background for this company. So Xenaps is the company that created this solution. They are a software development company based in the Netherlands. and they specialized in creating web solutions for architecture, engineering, and construction, so AC industry. The problem they saw is that for engineers working with Autodesk Revit, it was hard enough choosing one or two lighting products for a home that they were designing, knowing that there are millions of options of sizes, prices, types of lighting, or maybe energy use. For a builder or designer, choosing thousands of those lights for every single project was extremely time consuming. But also, if you just look at the specs in a PDF file, it's hard to imagine how it will look in your project, in your building. So the Synapse team, they recognized that problem and they found a way to connect intelligent models to lighting project information. And now I'll show you the demo of that solution. So on the right side, you see the APS viewer. So the model, I think in this case, it is a Revit model. On the left side, we see that database of the lighting products and the models of them that you can actually insert in your Revit model and see how it will affect the light in the room, how it will look in the room, how much space it will take. And then once you're happy with the products that you selected, you can extract a Revit file with the lighting products included already. This is something that a few years ago you can still do that, create a desktop plugin for Autodesk Revit with your library of products, but this is another more efficient way of doing that in the cloud. And then we have three whole slides of different web-based configurators. Let me show you probably this one first. No, not this one. Here we go. A solution, a web configurator developed by a company called CADcraft. And the interface of this application is extremely straightforward. We put our parameters, the width we want, the depth we want, and imagine that this solution is for building product manufacturer who designs and manufactures these products, balconies, and they can, for example, give access to that application to their salesperson, and that salesperson can go to customers and assemble exactly what they need for around 10-15 minutes without any design experience for that customer, and then send a quote to the engineering department so that the engineers can start building it. With this configurator, you don't just get the geometry, you also get the PDF files, you get the drawings, you get build of materials exported right away. This is what they're showcasing. And then at the end of this video, they open that project in Inventor so engineering team can make adjustments to the project if need to, or just proceed with manufacturing it. Again, this is for a balcony. That can be any product. In a note I wanted to mention earlier, but I'll mention that now. Some of those examples will really resonate with what you're trying to achieve or maybe what your problems are that you're trying to solve. Some of them might be outside of your industry. Those will be just for your awareness, what's possible with APS. Truly, the conversation about APS and what's possible will start one-on-one so that we can hear what you care about and what you would like to do with APS. And our business development team and engineers team can tell you what was developed in this area before and what you can do. But the examples I'll show are more inspirational for your awareness, and hopefully some of them will be exactly what you would like to have. So another example, let's play this video. I gotta share the sound first.
To kick things off, I'm gonna save
Created by a company called Shedmate. This video has a voiceover, so I will stop talking for a minute.
my project to the cloud. You can see here that the site plan got updated too. Now I just need to rotate my shed around and position it roughly in place on my site plan. Just gonna confirm that. And you can see that there's some extra room here in the back. So I'll go to the base feature and I'll add a few extra bays to make my shed a little bit bigger. I'll also add a few sliding panels here in the front and make some tweaks to make my shed a little bit more interesting. Now I'll go to BIM 360 and you can see that there's no project there. Just gonna use the BIM 360 integration feature to synchronize my Shedmate project to BIM 360. You can see that the project is now created, and now I can invite my coworkers to collaborate with me. Now that I have the project set up, I can go to Process Files feature, and this will run design automation in the background to generate my Revit files, my AutoCAD files, and so on and so forth.
I wanted to stress that our design automation API, that's what I mentioned earlier in the presentation, that headless desktop product. So they're using design automation for Revit in this particular case to generate the Revit files, the design automation for AutoCAD to generate the drawings.
After a few seconds or minutes, this is gonna be completed. And then I can go to the storage and see all my files there. So this generated native Revit files or AutoCAD files too, and I can send those files to BIM 360 directly.
Let me show a live demo of a similar application. This is the configurator itself. So for example, me as a person with very little design experience, I can go to the web browser, assemble the shed, the warehouse or the shed I would like to get, and send it to the company right away so that I get exactly what I want. They know what I want, and we don't have to do this back and forth of adjusting the object. So very straightforward. You can see we can change the walls, the wall color. We can change the size, and that will automatically get updated in the model. Maybe I want to make it really red. So hopefully you got the idea. Let's do check on time. Let me know if you would like to get the links to those examples, maybe just reaction or in the chat so that I can jump right into the integrations just because we don't have a lot of time left. But I'll show you two examples of integrations. This one is proof of concept. So that was developed by our engineers to showcase what is possible in the integration field. So on the left side, you see APS Viewer with its basic functionality and some additional buttons like markup, transform tools. And on the right side, you see a cost database. This particular database is MongoDB database, but you can connect your models to any database that you use. So let's see, we have material database that has information on the material type, the supplier, and the cost per that material. Since we have integrated that data, maybe I care only about aluminum. I can go and see all the elements on the left that get highlighted every time I select the material. Or maybe I care about copper and I can see the elements that are made of copper in my building. You also notice that suppliers come from different countries. So the currency that they charge in differs. But me as a person who needs to do the math, I need to see that in US dollars if I'm based in the US. So this cost breakdown at the bottom of the page breaks that cost down and shows you how much each of that material will cost to the company in US dollars and percentage total of the total price. Some prices will not look right because, again, it's a showcasing what's possible. It's not a real life example, so don't pay attention to the cost. It's probably not accurate. But yeah, this is our very, very basic example of an integration with a cost database. Now let me show you one example that was created for the company called Staticus. And we actually have a success story published on our website with them. So if you want to read more or see other success stories, you can just go to our website, aps.autodesk.com, and navigate to any story you would like to read more about. Um, this is a relatively short video, so I might have to replay it multiple times. But let me give you a little bit of a background on them. So Staticus is one of the largest facade contractors in Northern Europe, and they specialize in curtain walls. The challenge they had, so that business problem, the pain point they have, is that they didn't have any integration between their design and make data and business data. And we're talking schedule, cost, logistics. There was no way to sync data and share updates with their clients, the general contractors. And the whole process was extremely manual because every time they needed to update some element, say in the design and make software that they're using, they had to update it manually in all other systems. So they came to the company called Logic. It's an independent software vendor. And they went with their solution powered by Autodesk Platform Services called VCAD. So VCAD is an integration that connects BIM data with business data, like again, cost, schedule, and it connected with Power BI to visualize all the business data alongside the BIM model. And with the power of APS, they now have a solution that links both systems together or multiple systems together. And let me show you the demo of that solution. We see the viewer on the right that gets connected to the business data on the left. In this particular case, they selected only the installed elements. So we can see if we're on schedule, what has been installed, what has been designed but not installed yet. The database integration, and in my opinion, it's extremely intuitive, and with all the colors I created, it's very easy to use. Really, really attractive visualization. I think we have and some time for another example that combines dashboards and integration, and I know a lot of people today were interested in the dashboards. That is a company called Artelia, and we also have a success story with them.
Ready to be an e-com.
You gotta love the YouTube commercials. So let me give you a little bit of background on that as well. The Artelia, the company name is Artelia. They are an international multidisciplinary engineering and project management company. And their services span the whole project life cycle. The challenge they had was very similar to Staticus. They had BIM model and carbon measurements, cost, and schedule that lived in different systems. They didn't have nice integration and required a lot of manual work. So what they did, they built an web application that fills that gap and connects the carbon measurements database alongside the BIM model. And you can see how your design choices affect not only the carbon measurements, but also the cost. You can see the color coding here. It means either high or low carbon impact or high or low cost. And with that very simple to use tool, they can identify areas that need to be improved early and often. Okay, we have 15 more minutes. Let me show you a digital twin example just because I know you were interested in it. But a few background on that, when it comes to using Autodesk Platform Services for creating digital twins, the role APS plays will always be the context for your digital twin application. So that would be that BIM model where you can integrate your IoT devices, your business data with. And for digital twins, APS can provide the conversion of those 70 plus file formats. You can extract the geometry and data, metadata from those models, and display it in your application. Since you extracted the metadata, you can create dashboards referencing the IDs of those elements. You can build meaningful insights. You can connect the IoT data attached to certain elements of your BIM model. And this is a simple graph of how it works. Imagine this is your digital twin application. The design data will come from APS. It will be powered by Autodesk Platform Services. The business data will come from IoT devices. Maybe you want to use Azure services. So that will be different vendors, different technologies. A very straightforward example that we always show, again, created by our engineers. So it's a little bit of a simplified version of a digital twin. But you can see the jet engine on the left displayed in the APS viewer with additional extensions. I'll send it over to you in the chat. In this particular case, we see heat map, so we can control the temperature of each part. We can also see issues. However, this example has been used so often, so you can see lots of issues because we have been testing it. But for example, if I do maintenance, I can let people know that this is, let's see, that's covered. For example, I can add issues, I can add comments attached to a particular part and say, what was the result of my test? Is it good or it needs your attention immediately? For example, this part was marked as bad, so definitely needs some attention from the maintenance. We can also see performance in real time, so it's general or by part. And we also have the procurement information integrated with this model. So the cost of this particular part, $98, the supplier name, very similar to what I showed you before with the MongoDB database. Okay, we have 10 minutes left, so let me jump right into the support and events we're running for our developer community. Since I only was able to show you a few examples of what's possible with APS, I do encourage you to check out our code samples or success stories pages on our website if you're interested in learning more. And what's next? If you found this webinar interesting and you would like to learn more about Autodesk Platform Services, if you are a software developer and you would like to get answers on your more technical questions, we have coffee breaks every other week, so it's bi-weekly. You can join our developer advocate, Augusto, and ask him any technical questions you have, or maybe talk to him about problems with code you had, because I know some of you went through the tutorials. Maybe you faced a few issues. And I'll share some links in a minute. So this is something that might be interesting for you if you attended the last bootcamp. We will run another software online training for software developers in April. We know the dates already. We don't have the registration page live yet, but you can save the date. The unique part about that training will be that we will include sessions on Autodesk Construction Cloud APIs. So if you are using Autodesk Construction Cloud and you would like to learn more about that, definitely save the date and watch out for the announcement about the registration page going live. I think it's coming out pretty soon, maybe in 2 weeks or so. Another opportunity to learn more and to engage with our team would be developer conference. It is called Autodesk DevCon. We had it last year, so maybe some of you attended. We had it in San Francisco and Munich last year. This year we're coming back. We will have two DevCons in May. One of them would be in Boston, May 13th and May 14th, and another one will be in Germany in Munich at the end of May. The registration page will go live really soon, but what it is, it's basically a conference for software developers and business leaders on the Autodesk APIs, on the Autodesk technologies. So if you want to get updates about what's coming, what is already available for our developer community, what are the partnership opportunities and developer resources, you're more than welcome to join us. And again, watch out for the registration coming out soon. And the last event that I would like to mention today is APS accelerators. Those are events for people who already have a project. So if you're completely new, bootcamp would be a more appropriate event. APS accelerators are 5-day events where you come with your APS powered project and you work on it. So you code for the whole week with the help and support from our engineers. The attendance is free of charge. We have multiple events throughout the world, and it happens every month. So if you want to check out the schedule and attend one of those accelerators, you can certainly do that. Unfortunately, the online accelerator is sold out. However, if you do want to join online, reach out to me. We can find a seat for you as well. Lastly, if you do have questions, if you don't want to attend any events, but you have questions, technical questions, you can find us on Stack Overflow. You can send us an email, which is a very, very quick way to reach out to us, aps.help@autodesk.com, or found us on Calendly. We can schedule a call with our software engineers for 30 minutes. If you would like to get business support, so to learn more about the pricing or to learn more about use cases, success stories, you can reach out to us via email, aps.business@autodesk.com, or through Calendly. And I know I owe you a lot of links, so let me start sending you the links I mentioned, and I will start taking questions if you have any from now on. And I'll run the last poll for the day. If you have any feedback about the webinar you would like to share with us, I would really, really appreciate it. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to send the links. So this is coffee breaks. Accelerators. I hope I didn't lose you throughout the webinar, so your feedback would be really, really helpful. We will continue running APS Tuesdays in the next month, in the next year. So this year, technically 2024. The next occurrence will be February 13th. We will update the registration links really soon because now I think today was the last occurrence that was available through the previous registration form. Stop sharing.